Hello, 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 everyone. Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. Welcome to GT Champions World Cup, brought to you by Metropolis. I'm your host, Tatiana, aka E Dirty Tati, and today we have round four of season five of the World Cup. We have a very special combo today. We've got the Ferrari 458 GT3 car, which is a fantastic race car, and we will be at the Spa 24-hour layout, a classic racetrack with a storied history and honestly just a good time. If you are just joining us, we are, like I said, on round 4 out of 10, so you haven't missed too much. Just 3 races, and those are all available on the YouTube channel. If you wanted to go back and watch what we have already broadcast, it's all available to you, so you can catch up on the season. If not, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the standings and the like. But as you see, we race every Saturday night from now until June 3rd. So plenty of racing for you to catch if you're interested in doing that. And as always, do come. I mean, what else can I say? Definitely make sure you show up. Anyway, check out our graphics by Hypre, or check out Hypre who does our graphics. I guess that sounds better, but Hypre is a team actually that races in GT Champions, but also Pixteca, their leader, does all the graphics for GT Champions. So everything you see on the screen here, everything you see on our website is done by Pixteca. They do websites, they do liveries, they do sim racing liveries. Of course, all sorts of graphics are available. Do check them out. Let's see. We're still waiting on some people to come into the lobby. It's looking pretty good so far as the numbers go. But before they get started, why don't we go over last week's race? Last week we ended up with 3 fantastic drivers up on the podium. Natu took the win. It was a very strong showing, a very dominant win actually, fighting from not first place, I believe 4th or 5th into the top spot pretty early on and hanging on to that. Greasy with a big jump up through the field to get up to second place. Ando as well with a fantastic drive. Really, all 3 of these drivers coming in somewhat from further away to get on the podium and replace those who started on it. The full race results are as follows. Of course, Nato, Greasy, and Ando on your podium. Jakey came in 4th. Lucas, Sharky, Captain Muffin, and Mazda are your next 4. DP Mario in 9th, Presidio Dog in 10th, and Frog 692 in 11th place. So that will round out your standings there. It looks like Ando got the fastest lap, so he'll have those fastest lap points. And Captain Muffin falling down in 7th place is due to a penalty. Now, I didn't read any of the race report, actually, now that I think about it, but I'm pretty sure he finished in 4th, so that's a pretty serious drop down in the order. Your standings after round 3 are as follows. Sharky has a shaky lead in 1st with 44 points. Reezy's right behind him with 43 points. Jakey in 3rd with 40. Natu with 32, getting some great winning points in that last race to bring him up towards the top of the standings. Ridwan is sitting in 5th with 27 points. Ando in 6th, Teasbap in 7th, and Mazda in 8th with 20 points even. Captain Muffin is just 1 point below him in 9th place. Lucas in 10th with 18. Roses in 11th. Bipolar Express in 12th. And Frogs in 13th. Roses, Bipolar Express, and Frogs all rocking 16 points exactly. DP Mario in 13th and Presidio Dog in 9th. However, I'm hearing that Presidio Dog will no longer be campaigning in this season, so that's unfortunate. Our grid for today is as follows. You got DP Mario on pole, Mazda in 2nd place, Sharky in 3rd, Natu in 4th, sorry, Captain Muffin in 5th, Lucas in 6th, Greasy in 7th, Jakey in 8th, then Frogs in 9th, and teammate Hypre Roses in 11th, in 10th rather, Bipolar in 11th, Cyclone Dan in 12th, and Ridwan in 13th place. Again, we are at Spa. As you see, that is the track For those of you who are new to the rules, you've got two sets of tires in this race, and you have to use both of them. One set of racing softs and one set of racing mediums. You are allowed to change tires only during a 20-minute window that starts when we are 50 minutes into the race, and it ends when we are 70 minutes into the race. That is the pit window where you are allowed to change tires and take fuel. However, you are not allowed to do those things outside that window. However, you can pit to take to fix damage, because this is a full damage race. It looks like we're just waiting on a couple of people, myself being one of those folks, but it looks like we're waiting on another racer as well. Let's see if we can hop on track though and take a look around, see how folks are coming along. Why not? Let's see here. Let's do that. Do you want sound? Would you like to be able to hear the PlayStation? Let's make sure you can hear the PlayStation. Here it is. Anyone on track? Maybe we can take a quick run around Spa. Wow, everyone in the pits. There we go. There's Captain Muffin on track right now, actually, as he enters some of the final corners of the racetrack. Let me go ahead and set my display stuff up right now and do my thing. Make sure y'all can see everything except when the race starts. When the race actually starts, I will be hiding certain information, like whose tires are doing what, whose fuel's doing what, and that is not to keep you, the audience, in the dark. It is actually to prevent drivers from knowing too much about what other drivers' conditions are in their car. You know, they could be listening to the stream as they race, and it's not fair for someone to know what's being said. We're going to go on board with Captain Muffin here and see if maybe we can't catch a lap from him. He's crossing the start-finish line now and headed for that sharp hairpin La Source, aka turn 1, and never mind, he is e-brake turning through it. We're not going to get a lap. Who is this coming up towards La Source? Natu. Maybe Natu will actually do it correctly. Yes, a nice neat turn 1 there as he careens down the old pits. Actually, I think they still use them towards Eau Rouge and La Radillon. The messages indicate that we're going to be starting pretty soon, so I don't know how much of this lap we'll get, but nice and neat through Eau Rouge for Natu as he heads down the Kemmel Straight now. This is the longest straight on the track. There is a long section that's mostly full throttle, but this is the absolute longest straight, and here we are. We're actually starting now, so I will change cameras. We will go to the top. Lights flashing. Somebody back there is saying hello to everyone. As you see, we're starting with the lights low, and the race will begin. And they're off. Looks like nobody got a false start, so that's good. False start check is on, and you are penalized heavily when you start falsely. I forgot that this is the new start location for this track here. Grid start after La Suisse and straight into Eau Rouge, and wow, completely clean by everyone, even 2x2 going through Eau Rouge and Radillon. Everyone doing well through the Kemmel Straight. Now, that start makes it really close for a while. Mazda's up front leading Sharky. So Mazda looking for that position, but he gets, oh my gosh, he gets blown out of the water. Do we have damage on any of these cars? I see some damage. I'm going to go ahead and red flag this thing because, yeah. So the rule is if 2 or more cars are damaged in the first lap, we will restart the race at least only one time though. We will not restart the race twice. This is just in an effort to not have the race be crappy. Okay, it looks like people are getting hit and they are coming off right now. So we should be able to restart in a moment. We'll get one more restart to get that right. It was all going so well, honestly, up until, oh no, Sharky says his wheel turned off. Well, that'll do it. When the wheel turns off, you go straight. So they got to Lecombe, nice and neat. I hope we get a good start like that again. That was awesome. I do want to make sure that y'all are able to get a look at the starting grid one more time, just before we start. Mario starts up front. Is Mario in here? Did I see his name? I don't know that Mario is here, in which case Mazda might actually have inherited first place, which would explain what we saw. We saw Mazda up ahead, Sharky with him by a nose, Netu in fourth, really third, I guess, Captain in fourth, and Lucas in fifth. So that's your top five there. Mazda, Sharky, Nato, Captain Muffin, and Lucas. Greasy starting in sixth place, Jakey in seventh, Frogs in ninth, Roses in 10th, Bipolar in 11th, Cyclone Dan in 12th, and I've lost my counting again. It's supposed to be 11th. You guys know what's going on more than I do. So I'm just going to stop being the commentator, and y'all got it. We are green lit sooner than later. Looks like I'm just reading the chat here just to check and see what's going on. Waiting on a couple of people to ready up. 20 seconds to start. That's what I'm hearing now from the organizers. So I'll go ahead and take myself on track and make sure that I've got everything on display that needs to be on display. And you, of course, my willing audience. I was going to say unwilling, but you want to be here, right? Y'all want to be here, right? Say you want to be here. I'm going to take y'all on track with me. Whether you want to or not, I'm taking you on track with me. We are still in the pits. Somebody headed out to see if they can get maybe a couple of laps of practice. Won't get too many with that 20-second start. Let's check our chat. Anybody saying anything? Nope. We are all quiet on the chat front, and that's okay. That is a-okay. Starting soon message has popped up. Let's see where that start is. Alright, here we go again. Don't know how I ended up in this camera view, but this is what I want. We want this one right here. The lights are up, and they are green, green, green. Once again, no false starts for anyone. Looks like a great start once again for all of the drivers. Ooh, somebody in the grass there. We're going to go on board with Bipolar just to see what this looks like from an onboard. Oh, Ridwan just missed the start, just joined the room. But staying on board with Bipolar, actually we're getting away from there. I want to see the whole situation once again, still almost in grid formation. 3 wide down the Kemmel straight for some of the mid-pack up front. Are they going to get a clean run through Lecombe this time? Yes, they are. A little bit of tapping going on in Lecombe. Oh, one car might have damage. I saw somebody tap the wall there, but we will not be restarting this again. That is unfortunate, but it happens. Actually, it was a relatively clean start given just how many cars were trying to occupy the same space. Mazda continues to lead Sharky and Nato in the same order that they started in. Greasy in 4th place over Captain Muffin. Bipolar up to 6th. Frogs in 7th place, and Jakey just behind them in 8th there. Oh, that's Cyclone actually at the back. This train heading through the double gauche, the double left, if you will, and now into Lefagna, which is a kind of a big but also deceptive chicane, deceptively slow, I would say. It's wide, but it's kind of slippery on the outside. Mazda still leading up front, headed into Campus and Stavlo, those two right-hand corners, tricky corners if you're not sure what you're doing, and Mazda opts to not really apex Stavlo. Maybe I think it was the camera angle that messed me up there. But anyway, Paul Frere, this is the section of track that is the longest time on the throttle outside of the Kemmel Straight, and they are going to brake hard for the bus stop chicane here, which marks the end of a lap around Spa. Nato jumping into the pits already. I wonder if does he have damage? Is that I do see some rear wheel damage. Oh, Oh my gosh, he's gotten stuck in the pits. Oh, this is awful for Netu. He gets stuck in pits and reset to last. Not only will he not get to fix that damage, he reset all the way behind the rest of the grid here. That is a bad start for him. He was in third place, running well. I guess he figured he didn't want to run with that rear wing damage is what I was seeing on that car, and it didn't work out for him at all. He spun it in the pits, got stuck in the wall, and now he's got a long uphill battle with damage to fight. Big separation between the top three already. Mazda a second ahead of Sharky, who's 1.6 ahead of Greasy, who is now inherited third with Netu's exit from the track. Bipolar in fourth is a huge 1.9 seconds back. So lots of separation already created just in that first lap. It looks fairly clean. So some of it may be just what's the word I'm looking for here? Different fuel strategies and of course different paces. But Frog's already sitting on a 1 second penalty there. That's gotta be painful for him. Nobody wants to see that, but unfortunately that is something he's going to have to serve. Neto up to 10th place over Lucas. Not sure what happened there. I did see a message from Lucas to him. Maybe he didn't feel like that pass was that clean, but Neto may not be driving very cool and calm right now. He's just had a very horrible moment in lap 1 of this long race, 2-hour race here, which, you know, is a good amount of time to catch back up if you have to, but nobody wants to play catch up. And while you're playing catch up, those folks up front have no one bothering them. Captain about to serve that penalty that slows him way down, and also Frogs with a full second penalty that slows him even more down. He's going to lose 3 positions there. Yes, Roses getting up ahead of him. Both teammates, High 3 Frogs, High 3 Roses. So maybe his teammate can give him a slipstream and help him get back up the order, but that was a tough break for Frogs just on lap 2. They are closing lap 2 here. Here we are in the bus stop chicane once again. Cars coming through cleanly. Will Netu try to pull off again? Looks like he has. He will go into the pits, I'm assuming, to fix that damaged rear wing. That's a really long pit stop, and he must really feel like he's not able to keep his speed up to make it worth this pit stop, because it's definitely a long one. Where's his stall? Gosh, on the back wall, huh? That's where his team is waiting for him. In the old pits, which have been, I believe, re-added to Modern Spa to be the new pits again. Forgive me if I don't have that quite right. We don't have to stay with it too during this pit stop, by the way, but I figure we're here. We might as well just see what's going on. Yep, repair to that wing and right back out. Mazda, the commanding lead over Sharky, 2 seconds over him, and Sharky doesn't have quite that lead on Greasy, so he's going to have to watch his back. Greasy perhaps with a slipstream that he can use, though, so that might come in handy for him. As I recall, I was given some hints into the chat from the drivers about whether or not they'd have to save fuel or tires or anything like that. From what I understand, tires are okay, but fuel mileage is going to be potentially a problem, and so we will probably see different strategies as far as fuel saving goes amongst the drivers. As we approach that 50-minute mark, I will remove that banner on the bottom. We will, of course, review everyone's fuel and tire situation as they near the end of that first stint. We get an idea of who's doing a good job saving fuel and who's not. Captain Muffin, another half-second penalty, just 1 lap after we saw him serve one. That's not a good start here. Penalties killed quite a few people in that last race at Red Bull Ring. I think Jakey, in fact, was one who was getting a whole lot of them from what I recall. You know, penalties add up. They definitely add up. So, and here, the penalty serve zone isn't as generous as the one at Red Bull Ring was. Lucas might have got himself a penalty going way outside the track there. It happens. Let's see if he does. That livery is excellent, by the way. Love that color on the Ferrari. And no, doesn't look like he's got a penalty, so got away with one. Or rather, now I know that there's more margin there. Netu This is his outlap coming from the pits, and he is a huge 34 seconds down on Lucas. So a huge deficit for Natu, and he's going to have to make that 34 seconds up organically. There are no pit stops coming up anytime soon, so he's going to have to find a way to get some speed out of that car, and of course be frugal with the fuel. Unfortunately, he'll have to do it without a slipstream. Mazda, meanwhile, also without a slipstream, but at the same time denying his opponents his slipstream. He's 1.8 seconds ahead of Sharky, and that's just a little too far for Sharky to save some gas on him. Now Greasy's in a good spot if he's able to fuel save. I don't have much experience with this Ferrari, so I'm actually not 100% sure how well you can save fuel in it. It's a flat plane crank V8, high revving, as you can hear, and so that may make it a little bit difficult to fuel save. It's going to make most of its torque at the high end of the rev range, and that's not where you want to be if you want to save gas, right? It's Jakey and Roses together, dancing, pirouetting. I have to say the car looks a lot better behaved than I have imagined it to be. I haven't driven the Ferrari in a long time, but as I recall, it used to be one very oversteery, unstable mofo, but seems to be doing all right in most people's hands outside of that mistake in pit lane by Natu, which I've seen done in all sorts of cars, not just mid-engine oversteery cars, but everyone seems to be okay with it. And in fact, I'm not seeing much issue for folks coming into or out of the bus stop chicane. Now look at this, Bipolar is actually caught up to both Sharky and Greasy, who themselves have kind of caught up to Mazda. That 1.8 second gap is now a 0.8 second gap, so top four bunching up together all of a sudden again, which I like to see. One long slipstream train in a very profitable spot for it, actually, heading to that Eau Rouge and up through the Kemmel straight here. They will do well to sit behind that hole punched in the air by Mazda's car. What a good looking race car, and a good looking bunch of liveries, of course. Hard braking into Lecombe. Everyone gets out of it nice and neat. These are some of the best drivers in the game. Definitely the best drivers in our league. This is Division 1 after all. So, you know, I'm kind of partial to them. This is kind of clean racing that you can't find in a lobby. Not a random one half the time. Though sometimes if you have a bunch of good clean racing friends who also have good clean racing friends, you can create some pretty magical lobbies in this game. Don't sleep on it. Oak Hill Carpentry on Cyclone Dan's car there. Check them out. Obviously, I don't have a website or anything, but clearly that's Dan's sponsor, so we're going to shout it out. Maybe that's Dan's own business. Who knows? Perhaps Dan is a carpenter. Five laps into the race. And, well, it says we're 2 minutes into the race up top, which doesn't make sense. That must be a lap timer. Clearly that's a lap timer. Got it. I was gonna say, that's weird. My live timing isn't working the way it should. Perhaps I can make it work. Why don't we see? Why don't we stay with the cars up front, led by Mazda? We'll actually go chase cam from Bipolar Express's car, or actually this cam. Love this one. And I'm going to try to do some computer wizardry. Wish me luck. downshifting, fighting to keep that car going straight. Is Bipolar. Fantastic car control there, though, to catch that little twitch. Sometimes you gotta catch that little twitch. Did I do it? Is my surgery good? My surgery was good! Yay! Chris, if you're watching, I know you're super proud of me. Done. Now everyone's got the timing, and so far, this top group of drivers been super fast and doing it super well, rather. Fuel, like I said, should be an issue in this race, and so we'll be keeping an eye on folks to see how they're doing saving that fuel. Captain Muffin running alone in 5th place here, so already a huge bit of separation between the top 4 and the mid-pack. That's a 5.9-second gap is what you see there from Bipolar to Captain Muffin, who's in 5th here. Then another 1.6 to Jakey behind Captain Muffin. Now, you know, it's not what you want. Oh, we've lost Lucas. Don't know what happened there, but Lucas just left the room. Not sure if got disconnected. Unfortunately, we didn't see it. But we are now down one driver. There's Natu in the back there. 30.2 seconds behind Frog. So Natu actually speeding up and going quick behind folks. We know that they're a fast driver. We caught several glimpses of that last week at the oh my gosh, where were we? At the other race at that track that we were at. Red Bull Ring. Couldn't think of the name. Does that help? Wow, Mazda has separating himself from this pack once again. Last lap was a 2:18.6 versus Sharky's 2:18.7. That doesn't seem that much faster. So surprising that the gap is now 2 seconds between them all of a sudden, but gaps happen. Hybrid teammates Greasy and Bipolar looking good, doing the things. Oh yeah, baby. Or rather, not Hybrid, sorry. Sim Racing something. Can't remember what SRC stands for. If anyone in the chat knows what SRC stands for, let me know, because I can't remember. But teammates, regardless, or maybe just livery mates. Sometimes we borrow each other's liveries, but I do think these two are on the team together, fantastically following one another through Eau Rouge there. That is harder than it looks to follow somebody that closely through Eau Rouge. There's a lot of aerodynamic wash. In fact, Bipolar able to get an advantage out of it, and he's going to go around his teammate on Kemmel, or maybe there was some sort of team order there, you know, hey, I let you fuel save, now you let me fuel save, right? Who knows? Right now, we're still in cooperation mode with most drivers. Later on, we'll start to see a little less of that, or maybe here in the opening stages, we'll see a little bit if someone discovers the car ahead is way too slow, and they really need to get past. In order to not lose the cars further ahead. race car these are and were. I mean, not were. I mean, they're still out here, but of course, the 458 was replaced by the 488 several years ago. The 488 adds 2 turbos to that V8, and so a lot of the character, a lot of the sound of the exhaust note is lost to the turbos in the 488, but the 458 is pure, as you can hear, and it is classic high revving Ferrari noise. Let's see, the catch is rolling through the gears. Oh yeah, Mazda's about to be. That's Mazda 2 La Sus. That's 4th. And 5th, yes. Holding 5th gear through there to maintain some engine braking to help him keep the car headed in the right direction, not going wide there. Otherwise, he probably would have upshifted a little bit early to save some fuel. But Mazda showing discipline in car control. Bipolar on Sharky, and that is a move done into Lecombe. I'm glad that we didn't miss that, but Bipolar making a move, let his teammate know, hey, I'm quicker, let me through, and almost immediately also gets a pass up into 2nd place. So Bipolar now down to chase Mazda. Sharky's going to hope to hold on to those coattails, and Greasy, of course, wants to get past Sharky and stay with his teammate. So let's see how Greasy fares behind Sharky here. As everyone heads to the double left. Sim Race City, thank you. Thanks, Juan Malone. Appreciate it. I wondered, I was trying to remember, I was like, is Sim Race City related to High Free? You know what I never got? A breakdown of our teams. That's probably something I should ask for. Can I get a breakdown of our teams? Who's who and what? You know, I think it's something I may have overlooked. I'm going to stay right here for a little bit and see what happens between these 3. That intermittent tire scrubbing y'all hear there is just some tiny niggly netcode stuff. It kind of makes the cars jerk a little bit back and forth on track for one another, and what you hear is tire sound approximating if the tires were truly scrubbing, you know, with the car balancing back and forth, but that's not the case here. So just a netcode issue. Captain now has a Jakey behind him. I wondered, I saw Jakey getting a little bit closer to him. I wonder if Jakey will make this pass up into 5th place eventually. Greasy is still all over Sharky. In fact, he's got a good run on him through Eau Rouge and La Radillon. He's going to pop out, pop out and take the inside for Lecombe. Sharky does not defend it, and Greasy Sasquatch goes on. Oh, it misses his braking quite a bit through Lecombe and barely saves it. Unfortunately, he impedes Sharky. Don't see any damage on either car from that, but clearly there was a touch. That slowed Sharky down. Greasy just, outbraked himself, but got lucky. The car ended up in the right place for Sharky not to take that position back. That does slow them both down quite a bit, though. So now that gap to Bipolar is 2.5 seconds for Greasy. Oh, not what you want to see, but Jakey, who has done this work to catch up to Captain Muffin, now sitting on a half-second penalty. Captain Muffin is stuck out in the green stuff, out in the double left. He's on the outside. It's very dirty and slippery out there, and he's not able to maintain much speed. He's going to mess up his braking if he doesn't brake early here. He gets it. He does end up with the penalty. Only a half second for that, but he's able to save the car and only lose the 1 position. Very lucky there, or unlucky. It's easy to do. If you go wide in the double left, it's hard to get the car back in, especially depending on how quickly you're going. If you can't get the car back on track quickly, you're just going to go for a ride around the outside. As you see, it's a high G turn. You're carrying a lot of speed through there, and it's very slippery on the outside, so it can be hard to get back. Natu, by the way, has dropped that gap to Frogs to 20.7 seconds. So Natu is absolutely killing it out here on speed. Bipolar, wow, 2.6 seconds. Sorry, 3.6 seconds over Sharky. So Bipolar truly running away from his teammate. Sharky gotten back that third place position from Greasy, which only kind of seems fair to me. Bipolar's on the chase for Mazda, and Mazda, of course, is trying to make sure he doesn't catch up. Classic Division 1 stuff. Well, looks like Greasy's got that position right back from Sharky. I didn't see it, unfortunately. I was hanging out with Bipolar for too long, and that's on me. So Greasy back up into third, and maybe he'll hold on to it this time. But I get the feeling these two will go back and forth. I hope they do. Several more times, rather, during the race is what I'm trying to say there. Jakey, Jakey's in fifth, and Captain Muffin is still way back here. As I recall, he did lose a ton of positions to a penalty, so this makes sense. I feel like we lost another driver. I'm not sure who it was. Not just Lucas, but as I recall, we had... No, we're right. I forgot Ridwan joined late, so we actually did only have 11 drivers on track at the very start there. Mazda's running really well, and I want to know what happens when we hit that pit window. We're about halfway to it. We're 25 minutes into the race. Like I said, once we hit minute 50, that's when we hit the pit window, the start of it. We'll start seeing people jump in for tires, fuel, etc. Right now, it's a saving game. Not yet out of the water regarding Sharky. Sharky's not too far back. 0.7 seconds away from him. Still within DRS, so to speak, if there was DRS in this series. But the point is, he's within the slipstream, which is nature's DRS. If nature created fixed-wing race cars. Awesome shot of Jakey's car there. Roses is sitting in 11th in the standings for this season with 16 points, so kind of on the back foot here, and I think... Actually, let me confirm this before I say it. I'm going to go back and check previous results. Let's see. In race 1, he finished in 4th place. That's a fantastic finish there. Round 2, got a 12th place finish, and that was dead last. Nobody wants to see that, but it's unfortunate. Round 3, Roses finished not at all. He did not race, and that might explain the low points for someone who is typically a very fast driver. That said, it's the start of the season, and everyone's allowed to have one bad race or two. or 5. And certainly there is a drop round as well. So the timing, the standings will shuffle around a bit once that is in play. The drop round. I believe that happens around round 7. I don't mean to keep saying round, but here we are. Seconds from Frogs. Isn't that too? Seriously, just got the afterburners on here. Let's see, with our standings, I'm gonna switch to them real quick. I think we can do that and not miss anything. Take a look at the standings real quick. You can see our leader, Mazda, our current race leader right now, is sitting in 8th place. So if he wins, I mean, these were much needed points for him if he is able to win this thing. So obviously he's going to be looking hard to, trying hard to stay up front. Bipolar, who sits in 2nd place, is in 12th in the championship. So also wants to stay right up where they are. Greasy's in 3rd and sitting in 2nd in the championship. Obviously wants to stay right there and get these points. Sharky's sitting in 1st in the championship, so good for him there. Looks like our top 2, though, Mazda and Bipolar, are going to be a little bit desperate to get these points today and finish at the top of the order because as far as the championship goes, they're sitting pretty low. You can, of course, check out our standings for yourself if you ever need to bring them up on gtchampions.com. It's where you can see race results as well. If you are a racer or if you're already part of the GT Champions Discord channel, then you can see that under the World Cup channel section where you'll see race results for each division. Jakey almost loses it coming out of La Sus there. Almost ended up in the wall. That's easy to do right there. If you go too wide out of La Sus, it's slippery on the outside, but also just giving it too much juice will lose your traction in the rear there. And he's lucky to have snapped it back before the nose hit the wall. Luckily, you know, the engine's in the back of this thing, so smacking into a wall doesn't hurt too bad, but hurting that front lip absolutely will. This is a track where aerodynamics really matter. It's a very quick track, lots of long straights and sweeping corners, and sections where the last thing you want is a lip that's causing too much drag and is slowing you down, or that's keeping you from being able to hug long corners like this one per se, which is a very long hairpin right. And if your downforce ain't right, then it's easy to go wide there. You'll have to carry much less speed going through it. Same for these corners here, the double left. That's one. As you can see, you are at the edge of traction, and then on the throttle very early in the double left. However, if you can't hold that tight line because your front lip is messed up and you don't have enough downforce, then it's an issue. So, point is, no damage means you won't have too much or too little downforce. Damage means you're going to have one or the other. Actually, now that I think about it, I've not tested that in this game. I mean, typically it should be you'd have one or the other issue, either not enough downforce, which could be an advantage on a straight line track, or too much downforce. Sometimes games have little idiosyncrasies, like if you damage, you only ever get more downforce. Who knows? Roses give Jakey a nice little bump draft in Kemmel last lap around, and now Jakey's almost 2 seconds away from him, so Rose is probably regretting giving him the go-ahead there, but of course maybe it's easier to have a car ahead of you, you can fuel save on, he can catch back up and get into his draft again. Cyclone Dan chasing Captain Muffin here. Muffin, who's still sitting in 7th place after falling after serving that penalty. Looks like Cyclone Dan maybe smells a little blood in the water. However, it might be that he's just happy to find a slipstream partner. I'm predicting that some of these drivers will use over half a tank in this first stint, which is not what you want. We are over halfway through the first stint. We're at the 33-minute mark. You can see up top there, but you know, if you end up with less than half fuel at the pit window, especially before the halfway mark of the race, then you may be in a little bit of trouble. So hopefully people have got their fuel maps in order and actually know what they need and when they need it. Maybe I'm wrong, right? It could be. Could be. 12.5 seconds. Wow. Wow, and that's who really is chasing Frogs down. Doing 2:18.4 that last lap there. Pretty quick stuff. Bipolar sitting on fastest lap with a 2:17.743. Fastest lap does gain you an extra point in the standings, so he'll want to hold on to that. However, actually, I can't say that yet. I can't say that. Well, actually, I can. Typically, people go faster in the second stint because usually they switch to soft tires, but also they're running fuel a little leaner usually as well. So that is that's, I don't know, that's the thing. What's the word I'm looking for? Help, I need words. Rosa sits on half a second with Captain Muffin directly behind him. So is Captain Muffin going to get a position back here? He's in 7th place right now. Fell down to that. And maybe he can make his way back up. Starts to make his pass around the outside, and Paul Frere makes it stick just barely. So Captain Muffin over Roses for 6th place, and they're going to brake hard for the chicane. And Roses is going to be fighting for that position. That penalty also brought Cyclone Dan down on him, who was chasing Captain Muffin at first, but obviously wasn't able to also make the pass on Roses here. But he's looking. But luckily, so does Cyclone Dan, so he will lose some ground to Captain pit stops, Will. So Natu has cut that lead down to 9.5 seconds. Frog in 11th. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on him, obviously, because Natu is really quick, and if anyone has a possibility of getting back at the front in this race, it is Natu. So let's pay close attention to that and see how well he does. I mean, even a run up like squarely in the mid pack, 5th or 6th, would be pretty miraculous given what happened. That long amount of time spent stuck in the pit lane, 2 laps with damage, which I feel like they felt was too slow, and another pit stop on top of all of that. Not a whole lot to say about the racing right this moment. Pretty good spread between everyone here at Spa today. I mean, this is a huge track that used to be much bigger. You should see what Spa used to look like back in the day when it was first raced on. It was incredibly huge and ran between 3 entire towns in the Belgian countryside. And it has been severely shortened, obviously, to fit modern racing. But there was a time where this was a track for the absolute most daring, because you had all sorts of very long top speed, full throttle sections running through the countryside with very little to no protection from drivers if they got it wrong or went off track. It was an incredible era of racing, of course, a dangerous one, and you know, a lot of people were lost too soon, but incredible nonetheless. I love this this kind of bicameral look in Jakey's car. One half purple, one half black. I love purple, so I love a good purple and black combination there. That's a good looking racing car there. That sounded more violent than it was. And who do we have coming here? We got Cyclone Dan with Roses behind him. So something happened to give Cyclone that position. Wonder if it was spot 4 or if it was a penalty. Who knows? But Roses and Cyclone both behind Captain Muffin and now fighting each other. Roses look to the inside at La Suisse, and they will go side by side towards Eau Rouge. I think Cyclone's going to get down there a little bit quicker, and Bite the Rose is going to have to slot in behind him. Sure enough, that's what happens here. Bite the Rose is looking to make sure that he doesn't go out wide in any of these corners and see if he can maybe get a run on Cyclone into Kemmel. Cyclone will not go defensive, or nope, does not defend, and Bite the Roses decides he's popping out. I'm taking this position. Tries to break a little bit later into Lecombe, and that is done. Cyclone Dan, unfortunately, unable to keep that from happening. Maybe didn't want it to keep it from happening, but easy pass there by Bite the Roses for sure. Fearless leader finishing up lap 21 and crossing the line for lap 22, 48 minutes into the race. So that means pit window opens in a couple of minutes, and that means I can reveal some things. So why don't we do that? We'll start with our leader, Bipolar here. He's sitting on a little less than half a tank of fuel in that car, and oh, my watch thinks I'm asking about bipolarism, but I'm not. However, Bipolar has his name because he is a very strong advocate for people getting the mental health help that they need. So a nod to one of his core values is right in his racing name. And if you are suffering from mental health issues, then I say take a page out of his book. Don't hide it. Recognize it. Go get the help that you need. Anyway, he's got a big 3-second gap to Mazda. It was a little smaller a second ago, so I wonder if something happened to Mads. But that's Mazda's fuel entire situation. Both of them looking almost identical there. Mazda's used slightly less fuel, but also had less time in the slipstream than Bipolar did, I believe. Here we are with Greasy looking pretty decent here. Mind you, a reminder that the halfway point of the race is still in 10 minutes. And so for some of these cars to be at halfway or less than half a tank right now means that fuel is really going to be at a premium in this race. Absolutely. So yeah, I'm guessing that it's going to come down to not only whoever's fast, but whoever can save. Shaky. So far, everyone running the racing mediums. I believe everyone on track is actually on the medium tire for this first stint. So, if I'm not mistaken, everyone should be able to go even faster than they have on the soft tire, which actually ends up using more fuel as well because you can spend more time on the throttle on the softer tire. Even more reason to wonder what fuel is going to be like for everyone. We are looking at Cyclone Dan's numbers now, and fuel looks absolutely abysmal for that car. Not sure how that's going to work. Mazda is already into the pits. I'm going to show you Frog's situation first, Frogs and Natu, but Mazda and Greasy, our first two in the pits. Natu low on fuel as well. Just again, not able to save behind anybody, and has been pushing that car to get up to get back up into the fight here. Here is Mazda starting to roll into his pit stall here. See everyone else is set up just behind him. But here is our race leader in to get some tires, some fuel. Slow refueling this time around in the season. Pretty slow refueling. It's 0.5 liters a second, as I recall. And I can double check that. We can make sure, of course. But it is something crazy, and as you can see, he's still sitting there waiting. A lot of people in, though. Captain Muffin, Mazda, Greasy, Bite the Roses, Jakey, all in. That's actually 4 out of the 10 that we've got on track. Or, yeah, we still have 10. No, I'm lying. That is more than 4. We got 5 in the pits now, as I believe Jakey has joined the fight. Bipolar looking to extend that lead, though, and maybe prevent the undercut. So he's going to be looking to go fast in this lap and not let Mazda get too close, or in all of his laps until he decides to pit. Remember, drivers have 20 minutes to pit. If you are looking for the timer, it's in the bottom left-hand corner. When it hits 70 minutes, all drivers must be out of the pit stop. Not still pitting, not on the way to the pits, out of the pits completely past the line. It's very important. Big siren noise in the pits there. I wish I knew what that noise was for, but I actually don't. I hear it all the time. No idea what it means. Is it just the cars coming? I don't know. Do not know. Refueling is actually 1 liter per second, by the way. I had to check that. My fault. It's 1 liter per second. By default in the game, it's 3 liters per second. And so we have reduced the speed of refueling by 2/3. And, well, makes the pit stops longer, makes them cost more. But it's the same for everyone. It's the same across the board. So it's still pretty fair. Just makes a longer pit stop. At this point, most people have pitted. Natu is the only one who's stayed out, and that is why he's sitting up front now. His tires actually look pretty good, but yeah, Natu is going to have to pit and sit in pit lane for a long time, taking in fuel in that car. Again, because of that 1 liter a second refueling rate, he's not going to be happy about that. But leading the race for a little bit here, looking for an overcut, if anything, just clean air to get laps done. The tires look great on the car, so it's actually still a good time to get fast laps made. In fact, fastest lap happened not too long ago, about 4 laps ago. Sorry about that noise. Knocking on my headphones. Now our provisional leader, Bipolar, is out of the pits on a fresh set of softs and has got fuel, presumably, to make it to the rest of the race. Has Cyclone... Okay, Cyclone is either not pitted or accidentally fueled short. So I wonder if they're going to go back into the pits and get more gas. They can. You can pit as many times as you want during the pit window. I don't, typically you would want to pit just the one time because it is a long pit lane, but you also don't want to run out of fuel, and that seems like the wrong calculation given the amount of fuel that everyone else is carrying. In fact, some people who have more fuel, I'm wondering, what? But I didn't do any practice here. I don't know the fuel situation. They know better than I do. That is all. Well, no, I guess it makes sense. We used a little over half a tank. You need a little over half a tank to finish. That makes sense. Natu now into the pits. Gonna go ahead and get that car taken care of. 6 minutes into the pit window, everyone has pitted. The window is longer this season, I think, with the idea that it may create different pit strategies, which of course it does, or more widely different pit strategies. But sometimes, like now, everyone ends up pitting at the same time pretty much, and so there's not much difference in strategy. Let's see who's come out close to one another though. Cyclone and Sharky are with one another. Now Sharky took a whole lot of fuel, and not really sure why. He was sitting in third place and doing really good, but nearly filled that car up, and now they're going to burn the fuel. And maybe that's the idea. Maybe they just want to make sure they've got enough fuel to finish and they don't have to worry about gas at all, and they can make their way back up to third place where they were. They are all over Cyclone Dan here. Cyclone going defensive and forcing Sharky to go around him in Camel. That's going to slow Sharky down a little bit, but not enough to slow his progress from getting around Cyclone. Now, will Cyclone test him in the braking here? No, he does not. He jumps in behind him and is just going to follow. So Sharky one position up on the battle to get back up into third place. Speaking of third, Jakey is who's up there now. Jakey with a good amount of fuel as well. So just an excellent pit stop for Jake is what I think happened here. So Jakey makes the jump into a podium position. Now, he is 11 seconds behind second place Mazda. So, you know, it's podium position by a long margin. However, it is a podium position. Bipolar is 5 seconds ahead of Mazda. So Mazda with the big climb, with Bipolar with a leisurely gap behind him. Kind of just chill on this run to the end of the race here. We're almost at the halfway mark, 58 minutes in. Progress on Knack 2, making it back up to the front here. Well, he's fallen from within 10 seconds of Frogs to 21.4 seconds back. Looks like he took a whole lot of fuel though, so I'm guessing he knows the game is to go as fast as possible, catch back up, doesn't want to have to worry about fuel, and so that's pretty much what put him behind, is sitting in the pit lane that much longer to get more gas in the car. I love giving the cars a moment to just sing to us and just make noise. I try to do more of that while I'm broadcasting these races, because the sound in Gran Turismo has gotten much better than it used to be. There are still some games that people consider having better and more accurate sound production, but I think Gran Turismo does a great job regardless, so worth listening to. Matter of fact, onboard sounds, you hear more of that gear whine, and you know what, I'll be quiet. Bit of short shifting on display here by Frogs, just trying to ensure that he's got enough gas to make it to the end of this race and maybe even get into a battle if necessary towards the end. We've seen a lot, including last race actually. We've heard people say, you know, I was catching up to you, we're doing real good, but then I had to start saving. So saving in the beginning or just overfueling is a way to try to prevent that. And drivers will take whatever strategies they feel they need to try and win the race. Little bumper cam action here for us with Frogs. See who else's bumper is showing some interesting imagery. Ooh, Cyclone. Cyclone's bumper looking at Captain Muffin's bumper. You know what? Why don't we bumper cam a lap with Bipolar Express, our race leader, right now as he goes into the final two corners of the lap. And then on the throttle, gonna cross the start finish line right here and start lap 28. Hard on the brakes around the 100 or 75 foot mark for La Sousse, depending on cars, tires, etc. Neat through La Sousse. You can get on the throttle kind of hard on the outside there as long as you got the cars facing straight. And it's a downhill run towards Eau Rouge. His left hand is Eau Rouge, the right hand is Radillon. And nice and neat through that for Bipolar. It's off camber, it's easy to go wide, easy to lose the car here. Now onto the back straight, the Kemmel straight, named after, ooh, I don't know, some guy named Kemmel. Braking around the start of the curve. Ooh, he brakes way after the curve. Bipolar's better on brakes than I am. For Lecombe, the left-right chicane. One thing that Spa does not lack, it is left-right chicanes. And after Lecombe, there was Malmedy. Here is Brousset, that long right-handed hairpin that I told y'all about earlier before. And then this corner actually has a name. I forgot it. It's Speaker's Corner. Yes. I don't know who the speaker is, but it's the Speaker's Corner. Downhill again towards the Double Gauche, aka double left-hand turn. Bipolar, nice and neat through that first one. Gonna hug the apex and get on that throttle for the second one. And then brakes for yet another chicane, Le Fagne. This one's a little bit longer, a little bit wider, but still deceptively slow. Fast, but slow. And again, Bipolar just looking great, showing us why he's in lead of this race. Campus, the first of two right-handers to start the final sector of the racetrack here. Stavlo, that one, and then this long right-hander here is Paul Frere. The Paul Frere curve. All of this is full throttle, and he's going to track out wide here for Blanchiment, and this is still full throttle here. If you can commit and get the turn in right, and he does, absolutely, and then he's going to slam on those brakes just before the 100 board for the final two turns, the bus stop chicane. I know it doesn't look like a bus stop, but there was a time where it did, and even though they resurfaced the chicane, the bus stop moniker stuck. And that is a lap around Spa in Belgium. Fantastic, fantastic track. Now, this gap to Mazda is huge. 5 seconds is the gap between Bipolar and Mazda. And I mean, what can we say? 5 minutes left in the pit window. Now, everyone has pitted, but like I said, technically, you could pit again. You could. You know, does it make sense? I don't know. Maybe if you underfueled. But some people don't seem to think they underfueled. So, we're going to let it happen. We're going to let it happen, and we'll see how the end goes for, looks like Cyclone here, who's sitting on less than half a tank right now. But maybe you know something I don't. Does the front of his car say Toyota or just Toyo? Okay, just Toyo. I was wondering. Chase cam action here on Bite the Rose's car. Just taking a look at that nice Hypre SRC livery. All the sponsor logos on there. Well, most of them. Most of them are on there. Back to 17 seconds to Frog, so Natu definitely going just as quickly, just as urgency rather, using just as much urgency. Oh my gosh, English is hard. Using just as much urgency to get back into this race as he was in the first stint. And so far, it hasn't happened just yet. He did lead for a little bit, but that's because everyone had pitted, and he hadn't 2 minutes left in the pit window. And I'm going to go ahead and bring the ticker back. We've already seen everyone's fuel and tire situation several times over here, and so we will bring everyone's privacy back for the last half of this race. About 50 minutes remaining. Got a three-way battle for third shaping up here between Sharky, Jakey, and Greasy. Jakey with a half-second penalty, so if Greasy can stay right on him, he's going to pick up that position and get himself into fourth place. Sharky has indeed gotten back into that third place slot that he lost in the pit stops, just making a long fueling stop, but that has worked out, and he's got the gas to simply run away should he want to. So Greasy's going to spend some time stuck behind Jakey, maybe not wanting to make too aggressive a move, given that Jakey has the penalty anyway. But if Shark is able to run away while that is happening, that's to his advantage. Not fully run away, but, you know, create a gap that wasn't there before. And it looks like he's doing just that. That gap, 0.8 seconds as they enter the double left, 0.75, 0.8. It's fluctuating. They're going to go into Le Fang here, that fast chicane, and Jakey still hanging on to him, not letting him leave. And so Jakey will take that penalty. Greasy will pick up this position, and Greasy won't be too far behind Sharky. So Sharky still wants to be careful out here, even if he is a shark in these waters. As predicted, Jakey falls to 5th place behind Greasy. Greasy's now going to try to catch Sharky up. Behind these guys, no excitement. know that our fastest lap is currently held by Sharky. Picked that up a while ago, actually, at 2:16.309. Wouldn't surprise me if that car could actually go a little bit quicker. However, maybe he had the help of a slipstream there, and he certainly doesn't anymore because he's got no one in front of him except Mazda and Bipolar, of course, but it's a 12-second gap to them. So really, just open air for Sharky. And then right behind, he's got Greasy and Jakey. I don't know that anyone else is in a position to get that fastest lap away from him. Bipolar could, however, he's not going to have the help of a slipstream, and I'm guessing that's what it was. Bipolar's best lap so far has been a 2:17 flat. Oh man, for a second there, for like half a second really, it looked like Muffin was going into the pits. I thought, damage? What's up? What's going on? Just camera angle playing tricks on me. Sharky really running away from these two. By the way, Greasy, again, did get that position over Jakey, but can he catch up to Sharky? 1.7 seconds is the gap now. Keep an eye on that. I'd like to see what their paces look like. Wow. I said I think Sharky's fastest lap came mostly through slipstream. I was wrong. His fastest lap was a 2:16.309. He just did a 2:16.362 with no slipstream, which tells me that it absolutely was not with the help of anybody. Sharky is on a tear right now, mostly doing 2:16s. Dropped, went up to a 2:17.1 2 laps ago, but so far doing fantastically and being real consistent with these fast laps. Meanwhile, let's go check on Natu's progress. 13-second gap. I can't remember how much smaller than the last time we looked, that is, but hopefully remember 13 seconds the next time I look. Leader still leadering. Sharky still sharking. I think Jakey might have gained some time on Greasy there. It just looked like it. Looked like Greasy's car was getting a little bit bigger in Camel. Ooh, Jakey kind of tosses the car around my busy, just a little violently. Oh my. Sorry, Lecombe. Well, both actually, Lecombe and my busy. Whee! I love this track. It's been a while since I've gotten a race here. Oh no, Jakey out on the grass. Lucky to save it. Sometimes that grass can buck you, but that's going to slow him down, obviously, and make him lose some time to Greasy. And sure enough, that time gap is getting a little bit bigger here. It shouldn't affect him horribly, but he will lose a few tenths, no doubt. Oh no. Wow, Jakey just not having a good time. He goes out wide on the outside of Lefania into Campus, looking decent. Stavlo looking good, but now he's lost even more time to Cheesy, and it was 2.1 then 2.3 seconds. Now it's a 3-second gap for Jakey. He's going to want to get his head back in the game and not lose any more time. There's still plenty of time in the race. 1 hour and 16 minutes in, so that means that we have a little less than 45 minutes left to race. And so he can get his head down and just, you know, stay on track. Keep it on track. Cyclone into the pits. I don't see any damage on that car, so what is going on with Cyclone? He's got fuel, he's got tires. Is he choosing to add more fuel to that car? Because I do feel like he underfueled, or is this a retirement? Sometimes it's a retirement, but I think he was doing so well that the only thing I can imagine is that, you know, there was some sort of issue. Natu is going to pass by and take 9th place now away from Cyclone, and let's see what happens. Yeah, he's getting fuel. Now, why would you get the fuel after the pit window? And now that doesn't make sense to me. Now you've picked up a 1-minute penalty to do this. The short fueling happened way before the pit window was done. Could have gotten that a long time ago. I remember even saying specifically you can fuel twice, or you can pit twice in the pit window because it's so long, and if you need to refuel then, or add more fuel, then that is what it is. So tough there, tough indeed for Cyclone. I think it was running pretty well, fighting for these mid-pack places and points, and now is going to be way on the back foot, racing from the back on top of eating a 1-minute penalty. It almost doesn't seem worth it. So Natu now has 9th. He's 9 seconds away from Roses. The field is pretty spread out, so Natu's chances of getting from where they were to, you know, somewhere deep in the mid-pack are kind of low. They are carrying a lot of speed, of course, but so is everybody else. And, you know, being marginally faster is okay around here, and but getting passes done isn't necessarily quick. Sometimes you have to wait for the right moment. In the meantime, everyone ahead is still continuing to truck along, and they've got a significant gap to you. Some of these gaps are huge. Between Natu and Roses, like I said, 8 seconds. This gap between Roses and Frogs ain't big at all. Less than half a second. Frogs ahead of his teammate Roses, and now Roses around the outside of Lassus. He's gonna look for maybe an undercut, or maybe he'll go around the outside. Who knows? And nope, he looks for the undercut down, and he is going to pick up way more speed coming out of that than Frogs did, and it looks like he might have gotten done. Frogs just not carrying enough momentum through the corner. Bite the Roses up into 7th place as they enter Eau Rouge, and then the Camel Straight beyond. I've noticed, however, that you get a big slingshot when you are behind someone in Eau Rouge and Gatillon a lot of times. Doesn't seem that that's happened for Frogs, or maybe he's choosing not to use it. But just even in this race, what I've seen is typically if 2 people are going through Eau Rouge and Gatillon, the second one is able to make a move by the end of Kemmel. think it's pretty powerful. Anyway, what was I saying? Gaps. Speaking of which, Natsu the Frogs now 8 seconds. That little back and forth between these teammates cost them about a second. Already 1.3 between Roses and Frogs, by the way. One of our biggest gaps, however, is the one between Roses and Captain Muffin. There's a 31-second gap here, 32 seconds really, between 6th and 7th place. So even if Natsu were able to get Frogs and then get Bite the Roses right behind them, there's another 30 seconds to catch up to people who are running towards the top, like Captain Muffin. Then 9 seconds from Muffin to Jakey, 3.5 from Jakey to Sasquatch, 4.5 from Greasy Sasquatch rather, 4.5 from Greasy to Sharky, 8.8 from Sharky to Mazda, and 3.5 from Bipolar. All in all, you know, definitely more than a minute for Natsu to try to catch up with the top end of the chart. Honestly, even 6th place is a stretch, I think, at this point for him. Cyclone Dan running in 10th now by 32.4 seconds. And that seems to be what, you know, a pit stop is actually worth more than that around here. But everyone who's had to take an extra pit is 30 or more seconds back from the crowd. It's just not where you want to be. Where you do want to be is here, up front with Bipolar Express. Bipolar has been leading since the first stint. At first was kind of just chilling and then decided, actually, let's go. Why not? He started this race way down in 11th place. And so to come up from 11th to now be leading this race as we enter its closing half hour, or get closer to its closing half hour, is no small feat for sure. The race order, if you recall, was Mazda up front, followed by Sharky, then Natsu, Captain Muffin, Lucas in 5th, Greasy, Jakey, Frogs in 9th, Roses in 10th, Bipolar in 11th, and Cyclone in 12th. Ridwan and DP Mario were the 2 drivers who did not make the race, unfortunately. So the order has shuffled quite a bit, of course, but I think the biggest story is this 11th to 1st in one stint situation with Bipolar. Wouldn't be the first time. great job hitting every apex, nice and neat everywhere he goes. Natsu's a very quick driver, and you can see why. Hits every apex just right, patient on the throttle when he needs to be, great on the brakes. Just had a bad luck, unfortunately, at the very start of the race here, and that's unfortunate. Roses is into the pits now, and what's this for? I don't see any damage on that car either. And Roses was doing okay. What could he need? 30 minutes left in the race. He's good on fuel. He's good on tires. What's the deal? Tires? What? What am I missing? What just happened? Hey, Andrew. Brain fade. Who are you talking about? Bipolar or who? And why aren't you racing, Ando? Not bipolar, I meant Roses. Roses with the brain fade. Either way, I don't know why he did that. I thought maybe a retirement. You know what? I didn't look to see what kind of tires they were, if they were the wrong tires or what, but I didn't check. I guess we'll find out. We'll find out what the issue was. Cyclone and now Roses, right? I'm so confused. I keep looking at the clock like, am I wrong? Did I misunderstand the pit window? Was there a pit window rule change I don't know about? I don't think there was any of that. I can't explain what was going through both their minds. Now, Cyclone makes sense, underfueled, and I can't imagine that he didn't catch that beforehand, but maybe for some reason he thought it was enough and then realized, no, it's not going to be, but he had so long in that pit window to fix it, because he pitted, I think, within the first 2 or 3 minutes of the pit window, right? It's a 20-minute long window. My rig doesn't travel well. Oh, I'm sitting in airport lounge. I see it. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Be nice to have a spot where you could go, have a rig, have the PS4, just rent some time on it. Did Roses take same tires again in the window? That's what I was trying to remember. I couldn't remember if he was on the wrong tires. I didn't think to look while he was in the pits, and that was my mistake, unfortunately. I mean, if somebody wants to go hit that little, go slide that little rewind slider back and tell us, that'd be great, because I'm very curious to know what's up with that. And might explain his struggles against, I think it was Frogs and Jakey, was it? Hey, who's that in front of Mazda? That's Bipolar. 1.1 seconds between the two of them now. Did Bipolar have an issue? Because that gap was huge. And now it ain't. That is Bipolar right there. Saw them in the corner of my eye while we were following Sharky's car. Said, is somebody getting lapped? No one's getting lapped. Yeah, we do have some cars that are not too far away from, if you look at the map on the upper right hand corner there, but this is not a lap car situation. This is our race leader falling into the clutches of second place and former, technically pole position, since DP Mario did not start the race today. Both of them may have had finger trouble first time around. Well, you hate to see it, truly. Uh-oh, we lost Jakey. We lost Jake. We've lost a racer. Oh, poor Jakey. He was sitting in, was it 6th place? ahead of Frogs, I believe. That's unfortunate. Gonna lose all those points. Sometimes you get disconnected. What am I doing? I didn't mean to go. I'm gonna stay right here with Mazda as he chases Bipolar down, though. It looks like he just had a little bit of a slide in Lefagni. I'm not sure. Coming back, the camera angle seemed a little bit slidey. But he does lose a little bit of time in campus. But the point is, he's got Bipolar right in front of him. And surely he's got to be thinking, this is my only chance if I'm going to catch him. Assuming he's got the fuel to catch him. Sharky's not too far behind these two either. A lap ago, the gap was a little over 4 seconds. Now it's 3.2. So Sharky catching up. But if you recall, Sharky's got all the gas in the world, overfueled in the pit stop, and so doesn't have to save anything. Can just rev that thing out. And I think that's working out for him as he starts to catch Mazda and reel him in. Mazda looking to reel Bipolar in, and has to an extent. That's a second between them. But if he's going to make this pass, he's got to make it before Sharky gets here. Do believe Sharky is showing pace over the both of them. Yes, oh, absolutely is. Sharky has been doing consistent 216s at least for the last 9 laps that we can see here. Whereas Mazda's been doing 217s very consistently. That last lap was actually a 218.1. We did see a little bit of a slide from him. And Bipolar has been doing 217s with 2 or 3 slips into the 218 mark. So Sharky is absolutely quicker than them, up to 2 seconds faster in some instances. And so this is converging into a thing. 2.7 seconds is the gap from Sharky to Mazda. Mazda, you gonna try to put a car between y'all or what? You have the gas to do it. I don't know that he does. He's still short shifting. The gap to Bipolar is closing, but it is closing slowly. So I don't know that Mazda is really pushing that car. Natu has caught Frogs up and made that pass. Sorry we missed it. Got excited about a potential pass for first, but hey, we had a pass for sixth. Natu officially getting past Frogs, and of course by the Roses and Cyclone also now running together as both of our late hitters goes. Roses with fresh tires out ahead of Cyclone, and probably going to stay out ahead because those tires seem to be fresh enough to be. And that is, that is what it is. They're both going to take penalties at the end of this race regardless, but it is fine for them to race each other because their penalty will be the same. So whoever finishes ahead gets those points. Bipolar, Bipolar, Mazda, and Sharky that we are looking at here. Our top 3 2-3. Our podium almost converged into a battle here, which is what we want to see towards the end of a race, obviously. We have 20 minutes left of racing in here. A whole lot can still happen, especially if these cars get closer to one another. But what I'm most excited about is seeing who runs out of fuel. If I'm being honest, I just want to see it. Usually though, these guys are so good, they're not gonna run out. They're just gonna really start fuel saving. They'll notice it beforehand. But every now and then, someone's running real good, and then it's like, oh, I'm out of fuel, or I'm so low that I've got to go so slow. I might as well be. Well, that gap is staying steady between Mazda and Bipolar. Meanwhile, the gap from Sharky and Bipolar, it's falling, it's closing. Definitely quicker than Mazda's catching up to Bipolar. I think Mazda does have to be really careful about fuel here. Just doesn't have the ability to chase, and realizes that he may have to defend. And so chasing first, probably not as rewarding, or probably not as possible, I should say, as defending second. For all we know, Sharky's used up his reserve, you know, getting up here in the first place. So it was a big gap to overcome. Third place, when we came out of the pits, third place was 12 seconds away from second. So for Sharky to get up there, get up to third, and now close that gap to 1.6 is a heroic effort, and probably ate up a lot of that extra fuel that he had. But let's see if he's got enough to actually make something stick. He is now even closer to Mazda. And I'm just going to check on everyone else just in case, but we all know that nothing is happening back here. Maybe Cyclone and Rose's still going at it. Sorta. Cyclone got that position back from Rose's. So the fight for not last is alive and well. But the fight for first, the fight for second is on. Now keep in mind, this is our standings. Leader is Sharky. Sharky is number one in the championship right now with 44 points. Greasy, the driver behind him, is just 1 point behind him. So I'm sure Greasy would love to finish ahead of Sharky, or at least not have Sharky jump 2 cars ahead of him. Greasy was unable to keep up when Sharky made his jump into third. And as you can see, that 12-second gap is still pretty much represented here, as Greasy is now 11.9 seconds behind Sharky. So Sharky really getting out there and getting after it. Whoops, wrong one. This is the one. Sharky just dropping 216 after 216 on the boys. Reminding him, I am the champion here. So far. You know what, I can't say he's a champion. We haven't awarded the championship, but I am championship leader, and I'm looking to be champion. This is your notice. Why am I up here? I should be up here. Well, maybe Sharky has slowed down just a little bit. Or no, I think maybe it was a mistake. Last lap. Last 2 laps were actually kind of slow. Last lap was a 2:17.3. The first 2:17 we've seen from Sharky, period. Probably since coming out of the pit lane. but the 216 before was a 216.9, which is the highest 216 he's had in a while. We've got a 216.5, 216.8, 7, 7, 4, 4. So that 9, a bit on the high side, and then to be followed directly with a 217.3. I wonder if something about Sharky's situation is degrading. Because the gap to Mazda is still coming down-ish, but not anywhere near as quickly as it was. I feel like we've been hovering around the 1.5 second mark for a while now, and you know, every couple of sectors we get another tenth. It's 1.3 now. So I wonder what's slowing Sharky down. Wow, it's a beautiful shot into the chicane there with the sun in the background. Semi-gloss Fezza passing through. Okay. Well, now Mazda has half a second to Bipolar. Has he decided, okay, I've got to do the thing? Did Bipolar have an issue? Or has Mazda decided, I've saved enough, it's time to go for it? 14 minutes left in the race. So the gas he's got has to last 14 minutes. I want to see some action come from here soon. I keep wanting to go away and see what else is going on, but I'm afraid I'll miss something if I do. We are on board with Mazda. This is the closest he has been to Bipolar that we've seen since Bipolar first made that pass for first back in the first stint. So Mazda's got to be thinking, maybe I'll have a peek at some point here. Ooh, kind of over revs it coming out of La Suisse. Loses a little bit of time to Bipolar, not too much, but last thing you want to do when you're trying to catch someone, last thing you want to do when you are running low on fuel. Catching that slipstream in 6th place. Slowly creeping and catching Bipolar up there. And he's going to break a little bit early. Dive into Le Combe. Meanwhile, here is Sharky. He is just 1 second away from Mazda now. You can see the difference between the gap. Mazda a little over half a second from Bipolar, and this is what about a 1 second gap looks like to Mazda. So no one is running slowly here, at least no one in the top 3. Bipolar staying cool and calm under pressure, as he has been for the last several laps by Mazda, and now also Sharky. And he's got to hope that Mazda puts up a fight with Sharky, and that'll maybe help him keep some of his gap here. He's only got to survive 11 more minutes, but he's got trouble knocking on the door right now. Oh my. Rose is a minute behind Cyclone. Not sure how that happened. Oh, several very slow laps. Maybe just letting the computer do the driving for him. He is about to get lapped though. I think. Is that blue flags for him? Can't be. Roses is going down Kemmel right now, and Bipolar is coming through Crusade, so maybe someone else about to lap him. I do believe, yeah, he got lapped in the... Uh-oh. Spins out in La Malmaison. Gonna have to get back on track here. Try to finish out this race that has gone from decent to just really bad, and it's on right now. That gap between Mazda and Sharky looks a lot closer than the one between Sharky and then between Mazda and Bipolar. We're on board with Sharky now as he continues to chase Mazda, and if he's going to make a move, he wants to make it sooner than later. Doesn't want to give Bipolar a chance to keep running away from him. Surely by now he is also in fuel trouble and maybe even tires. He wants to make this pass quickly, but not so. He doesn't want to disturb his own progress too first, right? Not too much at least. Pardon me. Has a look into the chicane, opts not to do it. Oh, it's a little squirrely here between these two. Just a lot of, oops, my bad. Just a lot of lag, but not too desperate to get around. He's going to look for an undercut here on Mazda. Mazda looking to park it on the apex and does just that. Natsu has to accept that Mazda is there and he's not leaving. Meanwhile, yes, Bipolar 2 seconds up the road and counting. So Sharky probably going to look to make the move into Lecombe here. Will Mazda defend? It looks like yes. He's going to force him around the outside into Kemmel. And Sharky's got a little bit of a drive, but it's not going to be enough. They're going to hit the breaking points here. He can go around the outside, hang around the outside with Mazda, but that's not going to work out well for him. Mazda's too good a driver, and sure enough, defends it well. This is slowing them way down. However, it is letting Mazda keep second place, and first place is getting further and further away from Sharky here as a result. That white speck up there is Bipolar Express, who's probably really happy looking at his rearview mirrors now, like, ah, yeah, y'all fight it out, and I'll see you at the finish line. But 2 attempts at making a pass there by Sharky, and neither one worked. 2.5 really, if you count that nose inside at the chicane. Sharky making it clear as soon as he got there, nope, I want to get past. I'm not here to just hang out and finish out the race. I'm here for positions. Mazda seems to be off track there. It's hard to tell, but I think he was, yeah, because he's lost traction. And that is Sharky around easily at Stavilo because Mazda messed up and went wide and left fine. It's so easy to do. What a huge mistake. And now Sharky already with a second on Mazda, and now he has to catch up to Bipolar, who's 3 seconds away. That's a big gap to overcome, but got a lucky break there. Mazda, of course, got unlucky, making a mistake in a very crucial place, and I don't know that he has the fuel to catch back up. In fact, why don't we go ahead and show everyone's fuel and tire situation now as we're approaching the end of the race. We have 6 minutes left of racing here. Bipolar looks like this. Little Sharky looks like this. Mazda like this. Here's Greasy, and it look like that. Captain Muffin like this. I'm gonna stop. That too. I'm not gonna stop. Like this. Frogs. Ooh, frogs like that. Ooh. Well, I mean, the good thing with Frogs is that he has no one to fight. Natsu is almost 8 seconds up the road. Cyclone's 39 seconds behind him. He can just chill and hopefully save his fuel to make it to the end. Cyclone in a similarly bad position, but probably has enough to make it to the end. I'm not sure, but it'd be hilarious if he didn't, because he literally stopped outside the pit take even more fuel. Roses, still racing, still driving, and it looks good on fuel. And obviously those tires look very, very fresh now. Ooh, bipolar 2.7 to Sharky. So he knows Sharky is quicker. Sharky is still coming. But I've got 5 minutes in this race, and I've got a little while before he gets to me. And when he gets to me, if I can defend, I can hold him off for 5 more minutes, or 2 or 3 more minutes, whatever it will actually be once Sharky gets up there. This is the battle to watch. Mazda's out of it. He's already 2.6 seconds back. He's not catching up to these guys unless they get to fighting. So Sharky versus Bipolar is the fight for first place. And we have just a few more minutes to see if it actually happens, or if Bipolar has gotten away with a win here, a decisive win. Load on both cars looks about even, looks exactly even actually. As I go between the two of them, I don't see much difference, maybe a little tiny bit more in Sharky's car, that I can tell if the background is just the right color. So I don't know if that's enough to give Sharky a real edge here. The gap isn't changing from that 2.7 seconds I called out a few sectors ago. So what does that mean? Does that mean Sharky's just going to take second and accept? Is he going to try to chase first place? Does he have it to chase first place? I can't tell. He's certainly doing mostly 217s now. He did a 218.9 2 laps ago, but I believe that was while fighting with Mazda, so that makes sense. But a 217 since lap 44. Lap 43 was the last time he was doing 216s in that car, and it seemed like a pretty sharp drop off. It went from a 216.5 to 216.9 and 217.3, which indicates to me that it wasn't so much a gradual drop off of maybe tires degrading as it was him deciding, all right, I've got to save some fuel now and making a conscious decision to slow down. I don't think time or lap times make that big of a jump. I mean, at least not for a consistent driver without some intention behind it. 2.3 seconds for Sharky and Bipolar, and I just don't know if it's enough. It's a 2-minute 17-second lap around here. It's going to be a minute or an hour 58 minutes by the time Bipolar crosses the line. Yep, there's Bipolar about to hit the final chicane. We've hit the hour and 58 minute mark, and so this lap coming is going to be their last lap. It's longer than 2 minutes to finish a lap, so this is the final lap for Bipolar, the final lap for Sharky, and Sharky's got to try to make it happen here or not at all. Bipolar with a PB in that sector, so Bipolar finding a little bit of speed, or maybe just trying to make sure that he maintains that gap to Sharky here. He doesn't have much longer to go. It's at Marseille. We're almost through this lap, a little less than halfway through the lap here. And yeah, Sharky's there. The gap is getting smaller, but is it going to be enough? Has Sharky waited too long to try and get on the gas after Bipolar here? maybe. Now after this next corner here, Stablo, this right-hand corner, almost everything to the last part of the track is full throttle. So the only chance that he's got is that maybe Bipolar will mess up Blushimon, go out wide, or will mess up the chicane here, either going in or coming out of it. But otherwise, this race is over. We are at the 2-hour mark. We are in the final 2 corners. Bipolar into the chicane neatly and gonna be out. He makes sure to take that very slowly, puts on those emergency lights. Hey, I won this thing. Race over. Bipolar crosses the line in first place, followed by Sharky, then Mazda, Sasquatch in fourth, well, will take fourth rather. He is crossing the line now. Captain Muffin will come in fifth place. Natu made it up to sixth. Obviously also had a little bit of luck there with doing that. I would have liked to see him have to battle more to get up there. We lost a couple of drivers on the grid, and a couple of people took pit stops they didn't need to. Frogs will take seventh. Cyclone Dan has already been given the checkered flag at eighth, and Bite the Roses will take ninth place to finish this race. So that is round 4 of GT Champions World Cup Season 5. Look at these two running alongside each other. It was pretty close. It was pretty close between the two of them. Sharky started this thing pretty far up the order already. Started in third place. You know, had a good first stint. Took a lot of fuel in the pit window to try to make a push for first here. Didn't quite work out. It got very, very close, but he's going to end up in second place right next to Buddy Bipolar. This was the starting order. To give you all a little memory. And now we have our winner, Hypre Bipolar Express. Congratulations, Bipolar. I am going to go away and try to get these guys into interviews. Give me just a few minutes. I'm going to leave you with the calendar so that you know where to go and when to go there for the next few races. And I'll be right back.
Had things gone more smoothly with Madster, that would have worked.
Yeah, it was good. Like the first stint's pace was fantastic. Everybody at the front was just making no mistakes, basically, except for me. And then Bipolar did an awesome short field, got about 6 seconds on me, and then he was probably short shifting the rest of that stint, but doing really well. I mean, lap 50, we were doing the low 17s, which is pretty good. Nah, that was tires. It's always tires when Sharky's behind you.
It just still pushed me off.
Something like that. Cheers.
Hello. Yeah, I'm a little annoyed because had things gone maybe a little smoother with the pass around the outside at Lake Combe, and uh, I don't know whether it was a lag touch or whatever, but I got put off, and I would have caught my bowler had or at least gone close enough for a pass at the end. Had things gone more smoothly there, I was going hammer and tong, setting low 16s every lap, trying to catch because about about 5 or so laps into the stint, I realised I was catching 8/10 to a second a lap. And I thought this could work if I keep going. So, and it almost did. I finished out of Greasy and Jakey, so they're my two biggest problems so far. Oh, oh, of course you would, but yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks, man. I got fastest lap too, so that's a nice extra point. I, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Holy crap. 10th. 10th or 11th. Yeah, well, I do love Spa. That's probably the only benefit for me for this race was Spa, because yeah, so Spa's my favorite, but uh, I didn't do any 2-hour races. So when they all pit, I was like, oh, I got to pit next. And then when I did come out 8 seconds ahead of Mazda, I was like, oh, I didn't take enough fuel. I'm screwed. So, I was hurting. I was hurting, so I was short shifted and just managing the gap. And luckily, I got a little bit lucky tonight with Sharky having an incident and Mazda got a penalty, and I think he had an off, and then battling those two battling for a lap was the difference maker for me. Sharky and Mazda were on fire. Yeah, so I got a Venmo going to Mazda in about 5-6 minutes here to get off the interviews. Maybe a little sneaky $20. I got 3 right off the start, and then I just kind of I got myself into 4th place by like lap 2, and then after that it was trying to chase. I think it was
Greasy.
Mazda, Greasy, and there was one other. So I
It
was
was
burning a
me.
little bit of fuel. Was it you? Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
it
was
was
trying
me.
to catch those dudes, and yeah, things literally just worked out. If it, like again, it's this track, and then I didn't know what to expect with the tire wear, but man, that was like ice for the last four laps. It was not fun, especially with Sharky who's good on tires. I was like, oh boy, here it comes. Oh boy, stoked. I'll take it. Heck yeah,
Nice.
heck yeah. This is awesome. I'm stoked. I'm getting 3 beers and a shot. I'm gonna go grab 4 beers and a shot. Y'all.
No problem. See ya.
Hey, great job.